Okay. All right, good morning. Welcome. This is Krisa with the Graham Chamber of Commerce. And this morning we have Shane and Sharon with Graham Regional Medical Center, GRMC, our hospital here in Graham. And they are going to share a little bit with us. Before we get started, I just want to make sure and thank Pete Clark with Texas Made Security and the movie store for helping us out on the technical side of things. We definitely appreciate his wisdom and expertise, and he's great to work with. So I just want to give him a shout out and recommend him for any of your needs when it comes to video streaming services. Well, so also thanks to Tim Walker and Y100.5 for broadcasting our messages on the radio. I think that provides a great and convenient way for additional listeners to tune in to these messages. And this is important stuff that we want to get out. So thanks for doing that as well, Tim. Okay, well, Shane and Sharon, thank you also for being here. I know you guys have a lot going on and have busy days, and thank you. It's really, we're really grateful that you're willing to take some time out of your day to be here with us this morning.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, let's get started. One of the first questions I have is for you, Shane, just regarding the financial impact of this coronavirus, this pandemic, and subsequent shelter in place, and what it has done to the hospital specifically.
Sure, be happy to answer that. Pretty much like all hospitals, it's cut our revenue in half for the last 6 weeks, I would say. We pretty much locked down on about March 13th is when we shut the wellness center down, and when we implemented a lot of changes here at the hospital. And when you do that, you're going to impact your volume, your number of patients that you see, certainly. And when it comes to elective surgeries, we quit doing those about that same time. Elective imaging procedures, I mean, that's going to have a definite financial impact at some point. And that's what we have seen. That's what most hospitals have seen, as their volume has been cut in half. So we're started back with our elective surgeries this week. We've started back with our elective imaging. So we're opening back up in phases. So we're very hopeful that we will get our business back to full form in the next few months. But financially speaking, we did enter into the downturn at a position of strength, relatively speaking, as far as the hospital is concerned. We've made tough choices over the last 4 or 5 years that have come to help us at this time, financially speaking. So I think we enter into it at a point of relative strength. We'll come out of it strong as well. So I'm confident we'll be just fine. But we would love to see our business come back up quickly, like all hospitals would.
For sure. And I do think there's some misconception out there on this virus in some way being good financially for clinics and medical offices and hospitals. And that, we have talked with several other clinics and doctors as well. And also, you and I have had conversations, but there's no way to slice this and say that this is, benefits the hospital in some way. This is not a benefit. This is, it's not something anybody wants, of course, especially anybody in the healthcare industry. But B, revenue wise, you're looking at a pretty serious cut in revenue. But I think as much as we can and should and whatever else, but our residents here should be so proud, and hopefully are so proud. And if we could just, scream that from the mountaintops, because we all know that the hospital's gone through a lot of challenges, a lot of struggle, a lot of changes. And to be able to say we entered this in a position of financial strength, I think that is something that every citizen should just be so proud of. I know it's taken a lot of work from you all, from the board of directors, and from the citizens and some citizen engagement, but it feels so good to know we're in a good place at that hospital for sure. So,
yes, and to that.
Thank you for all your hard work on that. What about any updates on testing procedures, new tests available, so on and so forth?
Sure. Well, we've got a full lab here at the hospital, a complex lab, but we have not done any COVID-19 testing at our laboratory. We do all of our COVID-19 testing send out to a lab in Austin. And pretty well everyone in Young County has used the same lab in Austin. No one does their own testing here in the county. So as far as test kits are concerned, for what we call the actual virus itself, if you actually have it right now, we have plenty of test kits. The test kits that we don't have, and no one seems to have, is for the antibodies. Talked to some folks at GMA yesterday. I think they've got a large order coming sometime this week for those antibody tests. So that'll be one source of those. That's the one I'm most interested in getting our hands on, because you can do those in-house and you can test for people that have they're not actively having the virus but have had it, that have had exposure to it or have actually had it. And Sharon, you might be able to speak more clinically to that.
Right. Our lab director has said that we should be able to do that test probably mid-May, and that we have to get we've been approved this is a serology test that's approved by FDA. So it is not one of the quick tests that some people have decided to do on side marketing. So this actual FDA approval test should be ready in mid-May for us. And we also are waiting on the other fast COVID testing to be allowed to be done here. We already have the analyzer here. All we need is the approval and the test kits to come in. And the national government has given those to the hotspots. So those areas that have more COVID patients are getting the first batch of testing. So as soon as we get those, we will be able to run those fast tests here in our hospital.
That's awesome. And I also want to say I'm thankful that we're not a hotspot.
Yeah,
that is not a bad thing. We are very happy about that. What about I know a lot of the questions that we've heard so far, and I think probably you all have as well, is on the cost of testing. Are there any ways that people can be tested that maybe if they don't have the means, there's no cost associated?
Absolutely. Well, we do testing here at the hospital as well as the clinics in Young County, and the other hospital in Young County and Olney does testing as well. And we accept all forms of insurance for that. The national government, the federal government, has made it a rule that no out-of-pocket to hit the patient. So no co-pays, no deductibles for the cost of that test. So if you have insurance, you should be good to go. Now, let's say you don't have insurance and you are without means to maybe pay for the test. We do offer cash discounts to people that pay out of pocket. We do, and I think most other places do as well. And there's also one other source coming to town today. believe the National Guard's going to be set up at the arena all day today, and that's the purpose of them coming around. It's just for one day, is to do testing for free for people that may not have had a chance to be tested yet as well. So there are some other sources out there, as well as us. We do offer cash pay discounts.
So, okay, regarding that testing today that's being offered by the National Guard or by the federal government, who should take advantage of that? Like who are they looking to test today?
You know, as far as I understand, the advertisement that we received and put on our Facebook is for people that have active symptoms. As far as I understand, that's who it would be for. So I don't think it would be for anybody just to show up and take a test. I think you actually have to have the symptoms, but that was listed on their advertisement. If you have these certain symptoms, dry cough, fever, et cetera, then you can show up and get an appointment and get your test performed.
So if people do want to see more information on that, they could go to the GRMC Facebook page is probably the best place.
Correct.
Perfect. So obviously big news this week with the governor's announcements and address recently. And I know we have so many local businesses excited about reopening. This has, of course, been really hard economically on all small businesses, actually. So as they do that, and they do reopen to the public at their, appropriate capacity, so on and so forth. But where should they seek information and resources on best practices, so to speak, on staying safe, precautions they should take, maybe some recommendations, et cetera, but where's the best place for them to find that information?
Well, if they go to DSHS Texas, that's the Department of State Health Services, then they have a COVID-19 website. And it not only tells you where the testing has been done in the state and where the cases are, but it also gives you a lot of helpful hints on how to take care of yourself and to have precautions and that sort of thing. So that's the state website. Of course, they can also go to CDC website or to the World Health Organization, which is a broader spectrum situation. And also there's a lot of information from the Mayo Clinic or other websites that you can go to that's giving the information. We have information on our website too, and it's much the same as any kind of flu or illness, as to protect yourself and others. And I think that's the main thing to remember, is just to be cautionary and to protect yourself and others.
And I'm wondering if there's, maybe we can do a little digging and send something out, if you guys don't mind helping me search a little bit for something, because surely something exists. If not, maybe we create it, but I have a feeling something exists. But, even something that says when you're allowing the public to come in, sanitize the outside and the inside of the doors every so often, however often, and make sure to wipe down the countertops, or whatever it may be. Those are small, most people know those, but just some kind of tips to follow, just to give some people an idea.
I'll be happy to help with that.
I think that'd be great, really helpful. So another question, and this is something that I know you all hear as well, and I hear it a lot also in my profession, personal and professional life. But, and I'm going to say this up front, but the meeting that I attended at the hospital way back when, kind of at the beginning of all of this, and we talked about this being a possible overreaction. And that's been a lot of the criticism, of course, where we are now. We've only had a few cases, so on and so forth. So I'm gonna throw that question out there to you, Shane, and just say, has this been an overreaction?
That one's going to be for the historian to tell that story in the next 100 years. Who knows? And that's going to be the thing. You will never know. The best thing you can do is prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And that's what we've done here at the hospital. we've got a duty to protect the health of our community. And that's one thing that we take very seriously. So was it an overreaction? My favorite is the juice worth the squeeze. That's Jones's new nickname.
Love it.
But it's going to be hard to tell, and that's going to be for the future historians to look back upon and make a case. Was it an overreaction? I don't know. That's going to be something that's impossible to ever know. So the best thing you can do is prepare for the worst, hope for the best, which is certainly what we've done here. The best case so far has been there has been no flare-ups in Young County. So I think everyone needs to count their blessings as far as that's concerned. Is that a overreaction? If so, then so be it. And that's the best case scenario. Has it crushed our economy? Yes, it has crushed our economy, not just here locally, but globally. This is not a good thing. I wish it had never happened. I wish coronavirus did never exist. That would have been the best case scenario. Second best case scenario is we take it seriously and we don't have millions of people get sick or worst case die.
Absolutely. And I think something else that Dr. Jones said was, when looking back, when we do have hindsight and we can look backwards, if we say, oh, that was probably a bit of an overreaction, that's okay. That is our best case scenario. And there's no way for us to know the what if of what would have happened had we not taken these serious and, bold measures to protect and keep people safe. But with hindsight, if you look backwards and you say, oops, that's the worst case scenario. If you knew that you could have done something to prevent this and you didn't do it. And, I can't imagine the weight of some of those decisions. I'm fortunate and thankful that those are not my decisions to make. But for those who do make them, I think about them a lot, and I think they're doing a great job and trying to keep us safe and also, weigh those pros and cons, the juice and the squeeze, really.
Well, I would urge people that, we're not out of the woods yet. We still have coronavirus amongst us, so we're not done with it yet. And I still urge people to do the right thing, wash your hands, don't touch your face, go by the CDC guidelines, and that sort of thing, because we don't want it to flare back up. Since we're doing so well, we want to stay on that glide path, so to speak.
For sure. And I know I've heard a few doctors talk about potential, I don't know what the right word is, flare-ups in the fall. And of course, I don't think anybody knows right now what's going to happen. Unfortunately, our doctors are so smart and they just still can't tell us what the future holds. So, we don't have that profession here, I don't think. But that is something I think that we're all a little bit worried about. Everyone's a little bit worried about that. We might get through this first little phase and then we don't know what happens in the future.
Right. Just prepare for it and wash your hands and do the appropriate thing, and I think we'll be okay. But it's still out there. That's just the moral of the story. We're not done yet.
And Krista, I would like to say that if anyone has any question about their health, then we are here at the emergency room 24 hours, and our physicians will see you and test you if necessary, or give you direction on how to take care of yourself. So if anybody has a question, don't hesitate to call us at any time.
So we really are fortunate as a community to have that hospital, and unfortunately, personally, I've had to use that emergency room a few times recently, and just glad it's there. Very, very glad it's there. And glad that we have such great people staffing it as well. So thank you all. I want to encourage people out there who are viewing, if you have questions, comments, praise and criticism, we'll take them all. So leave us a comment and we'll try to get that covered. I think we have quite a few. Let me check. We have quite a few people watching with us. So out of all of those, I'm sure some people have some questions, but I don't see any yet. Sylvia said, awesome info. Well, I said yesterday, I was talking with a friend and I said, at the end of the day, this has not been good for anyone. I mean, I don't think any industry out there, except maybe the creators of Zoom meeting, I don't think anyone would say this has been a good thing for their business or for their personal life, etc. But I think that hopefully we've all learned a little bit through it. We've built some better habits on hand washing, we've seen some really hilarious memes come out of this. So there are some silver linings out there. And even the retailers, I've been so proud of them, and they've adapted, and they have, been, I think, stronger than ever. Maybe not bringing in as much revenue as ever, but they have stayed strong and they have found ways to make it work. And that is always really inspiring for me.
Yeah.
Krista, if you would share with the public that we are still screening. So if anyone comes to visit in the hospital, we only allow one visitor, and it has to be an essential visitor. And we also are still screening everyone for health questions and temperature, and making everyone wear a mask while they're in the hospital, patients and visitors. So we have not opened our doors completely. We are still at that stage of screening and keeping our patients safe as well as the public safe.
Perfect. Well, and we definitely want to keep our healthcare workers safe, because we need them. We know we need them. So whatever we can do as a community to keep that group, healthy and safe, we know that is very top priority. Let's see. We also had a comment. Courtney Ramirez said the restaurants have been amazing. Gosh, yes, that is the truth. What an incredible reaction we've had from the restaurants on making this work, continuing to serve this community. And I've been blown away at some of the creativity they've had. The way that they've evolved and adapted and pivoted and just stayed relevant here is incredible. We are so lucky. Such a good comment there.
I agree.
And let's see, we had a comment. Thanks to the local businesses like Boaz who opened up and did the video shopping. That has been so fun too. Sharon, you mentioned that you've watched some of them, right?
I have. They're so innovative and inspiring too. It makes me really want to go back and see them. And so yes. I hope everyone takes a chance to look at those.
Yes, those have been really fun. I'm not going to lie, I actually got this sweater yesterday. On Facebook Live, I got this sweater. But it's been really fun. And one of the things that Gina said when we started the one, excuse me, when we did the one at Boaz yesterday was, for her as a retailer, she's been watching them, and she said, we all have such different products, and we cover, just a huge array of, people's tastes and preferences and so on and so forth. And I thought that was a really good perspective too. We've got everything, we've got everything people, for the most part, everything people could ever want. And if we don't have it, most of the time you can ask a retailer and they'll find it for you. So it's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. Well, I know you guys are busy, and we've had some great comments, some good, some really nice comments, but I don't see any questions per se. But I think that also probably both of you would agree that if people do have questions, if they watch it later, if they come up with a question, they can comment on this post, and we'll be happy to follow up. Either I'll try to get in touch with GRMC and get a response, or if you guys want to respond directly, that's fine too. But
absolutely, and you can always go to Facebook and ask a question. We do our best to answer it as quickly as we can, and stay on top of that, and to give them as much information as possible. I think that's key. The more info you have, the less conspiracy theories there are out there, and less rumors. We want the truth and just the facts, and we'll answer them as best we can.
Absolutely. Well, you guys have done a great job on communication. I know that takes a lot of work and a lot of effort on your part, but I think that's really important for especially a small, tight-knit community. So important to have that good, open communication. So kudos to you once again. We're impressed, and makes me proud to live here.
Well, thank you to the chamber too.
Of course, yes. Thank y'all. And if you ever need anything from us, just let us know, please.
Thank you.
Will do. Thank you, Krisa.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.